So water sound effects, are there any more here? Yeah, we got some more these guys. So let's add some more water sound effects here since we have these open. So obviously we need an ocean sound effect here. Let's give it some background ambiance. That one's decent. Let's give that a go. So remember water sound effects. I'm just trying to throw all those into the water section. Now, we have all of these as orange layers. It would probably be even easier if we were to change up the colors of each like different type of sound effect. We could totally do that in this case as well. Whatever works best in your workflow. In this case, it would probably be easier for all of us to understand what's going on here if we made the water sound effects blue, and then the whoosh sound effects maybe like a lighter blue, and then the dirt bike sound effects orange, whatever. But for me in this case, that is an extra step. I'm fine with just keeping things the same color for now. If things start getting like really hectic, then I might want to change these colors. But for now, I just know that all the orange ones are sound effects. That works beautifully. I love this section here. So I'll just cut this. So I think because I have the sound of the ocean and the environment here in the background, but there is no sound of when his board hits the ocean, that just doesn't sound right to me. So it sounds like something's off. So it sounds empty. So this shot, we should definitely find a sound that works well for when his board hits the ocean here. Do I know what kind of sound we should use for this? I don't know. We could type in water hit and just see what comes up. Yeah, none of those sound any good. Water. And this is searching like, what was it? Something like 10,000 sound effects. I have tons of sound effects. Sound effects I collected from like Adobe and just like different databases online. Put them all into one sound effects folder, and this is what we're accessing here. So it's just searching everything that I got. But I feel like for this, I would need some kind of hit sound effect. And I'd probably have to mess around with it a little bit. Let's give that a try. Let's see what's up. So that could actually work. At first I was like, oh, see? It kind of works. Cool. So we can see we're in A10 here. We're getting a bit of peaking here. It's pretty loud. So maybe we turn it down a bit. This is a good example of where we would want to lower the volume of other sound effects so that we can let this one kind of come through a little bit easier. So maybe I'll just bump this down a little bit here. Actually sounds pretty good. I like that. Let's bring it up a tiny bit, holding shift. Okay, so this area here, I'm gonna want some kind of underwater whoosh. So water, whoosh. Let's see what we got. Perfect. Look at that. How quick was that? So I'm going to drag this into my whoosh track. And probably put it over here. And that's a little bit quiet, so I'm just going to use the elastic wave tool to stretch it out. That works beautifully. So I'm going to close this. And trim it down. So for this, I'm going to want something above water, but it's slowed down. So I'm not going to want like normal like ocean sound. I'm going to want it to slow down. So I might slow it down with the elastic wave. That's probably pretty good right there. Let's just grab something like that. And we are going to want to put this in water sound effects, right? So somewhere over here. And we have layered editing on. So Option S to show me all my layers. Just so I'm making sure that we're not overwriting anything. Dope. That actually sounds really good. I like that a lot. So fade this out here. I love that actually. It's beautiful. Let's stretch this out a bit. Cool. Let's take a look at our meters. So 8, we can see 8 is a little bit loud. Obviously, it's this one here. And that is where the beauty of mixing comes into play. It's making sure that all of our tracks don't interfere with each other and they're all balanced out properly. And that's one of the hardest parts about sound design, is just making sure that everything is balanced. I think what could be cool is actually to add like a human sound effect here. I'm thinking like someone like being like, woo, yeah, or something. So let's see what we got. Yeah. Human crowd, yeah. Yeah! Should we throw this in just to see what's good? That's Dan Mace, by the way. He always has a crowd of like 20 people watching him, and they're all cheering for him. Yeah. No, but like adding a human element there could be cool. So human male. Yeah! That's a good one too. Let's turn that down. Yeah! That does not sound like me at all. Yeah! Not the best. That almost sounds cheesy, but like something cool, something real. Yeah. I think these are from like BBC or something. They're kind of cheesy. Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if we like turn that down all the way. That's actually kind of cool. Just that little hint of a human vocal in the background. It makes it feel different. Sick. All right. I like that a lot. So I feel pretty good about this area here. We can see we got our whoosh sound effects here. The human should probably not go in that area. But I don't really want to create a new track just for that one voice, or maybe I should, I could just do that. And why don't we just make a separate track just for human elements? So human sounds. Why not? Because I know that I'm going to want to add like laughing and stuff to the acro scenes, for example. So maybe we just put all those in this track, and I'm just going to make this orange as well. So track color, let's make it orange. And I think I'm actually just going to change the pitch of this one here. Shift spacebar to loop that. Let's open up the inspector. Let's change the pitch. Cool. Option X. And I'll add one more whoosh there just to fill it in even more. Let's find some kind of windy whoosh. I think that's the one that we're using here, underwater whoosh. That's a good one. Yeah, 09. Cool. So that's the one that we're already using. I need something more bassy. Okay, cool. Let's try that. It could be like a good little transition maybe to the next one. So we have layered editing on, remember? So it looks like 7. So that's the one that we just put in. It's a little bit too loud. So these two are also going to be adding up. So if we look at our main bus, these two low end frequencies are going to add up. So it's important to watch that. And if we need to, we can lower the lower frequencies here in one of these, just so that they don't conflict too much. They don't stack on top of each other and then cause our bus to, peak. So this sound here, why don't we just lower the low end a little bit. So it's not as bassy. So just like that, take a listen. This is with it on. That's with it off, and then this is with it's on. So we are cutting out a lot of that low end. We're eliminating that. Option X, Shift Tab, close the inspector. Let's take a listen. And we want to unsolo. Cool, that sounds dope. I'm loving it. Right now we are an hour into this lesson, about an hour. So I'm not going to drag this on too much. We have covered a lot of the different elements that I've spoken about within this module. You guys are just seeing the real world use case of how I implement all of these different tools and features that we learned about in the real world. And this is just as real as it gets. I would say that right now the sound design that I'm doing on this video is probably even more elaborate than the main video itself. The main video that I actually uploaded to YouTube, the sound design was not too complex. I kind of kept things a little bit simple. But for this example, I wanted to just go a little bit more in to show you guys what you can really do with sound design. And one thing that I like to do every once in a while too is just listen to the sound design without the music, just to kind of get a feel of what we've done in terms of sound design. So let's just do that right now. Actually, I'm just gonna Control tilde to full screen. It sounds sick. I love it. So why don't we add some longboard sound effects over here? So let's go back to our index. Remember, let's use our index because it's amazing. It helps us free up a lot of real estate here to actually focus on the things that we want to focus on. So right now we don't have any tracks. We don't have any tracks for the longboard stuff. Let's close off human sound effects. Also keep in mind, the reason that we're seeing our main bus output here is because we have automation turned on. Once automation is turned off, we can't see that. So just remember, the reason we're seeing this is because automation is on. And of course, when automation is on, we are able to automate our buses. So if we wanted to route all of our whoosh sound effects or all of our dirt bike sound effects to one bus because we wanted to apply automation to all of those dirt bike tracks, we could do that very easily on the bus and not have to, perform automation on 2 separate tracks. We can just do that on one track. Or, this could be like you can route 15 different tracks into a bus and then apply automation on that bus instead of having to tediously go in on and perform automation on each one of those tracks. So buses are huge for sure. In this case, we don't have too many tracks. So like this is fine. And I don't know if we're going to actually need to perform too much automation on these, but I'll probably end up just feeding, the dirt bike tracks into a bus and call that bus dirt bike bus, and then same with the whoosh sound effects and the water sound effects. But if this was groups of 3, then maybe it would make even more sense. But in this case, I'm just really focusing on trying to keep those groups of sound effects in certain tracks. So the dirt bike ones here, and I'm just trying to make sure that all the sounds are relatively balanced. So I'm always looking at the meters, making sure that things aren't peaking too hard. But at the end, when we kind of have everything in place, we can use our faders over here and we can enable automation for our faders. So we can kind of go through the whole edit and play around with the faders for the individual tracks or the buses if we've chosen to go the bus route, just to make sure everything feels balanced and good. So why don't we put some focus into this longboard section? And I think that's going to be a wrap to this video. So let's add 2 new stereo tracks over here. And notice that most of the sound effects that we're working with are all stereo. I think maybe we could have had some mono. I didn't notice any mono ones, but if we do have any mono sounds, then they would show up. So here, for example, we have a mono sound. Oh, no, never mind. No, that's stereo sound. So we don't actually have any mono sound effects in here. But, you know, if you ever are dealing with mono sound effects, you can keep them in a stereo track or just change that track to mono or just create a new track that's mono. So I'm just going to hide all those, and we've created audio track 12. I'm just going to shift Z to make sure that this isn't another track that has something on it already, and it doesn't. So we've just created 1 track. Let's add 1 more. So add a stereo track. Let's call both of these longboard. Same with this one here. Longboard. And let's change the color to orange as well. And let's start throwing in some longboard sound effects. So what I think would be cool for this is skateboard sound effects. So skateboard on concrete. And I know I was looking for this kind of stuff before. I don't have the best sound effects, but we could still make use of something that's, you know, close enough. So something like that. Actually works pretty good. Sounds pretty decent. So we're going to throw that in the longboard track. So it's going to start about here. We'll fade that in. Cool. I'm going to cut it right here. And what I can do with this is play with the pan as well. So why don't we... At this point, I would want the pan to be about here. So I'll just try to match it like in the video. So I'll set a keyframe over there. And over here, we'll move it a little bit more to the right. So we're adding more depth to this sound by just moving it right to left. So let's take a listen. Cool. That sounds good to me. And I want to add some wind to make it sound like we're going really fast. So let's see what we got here. That sounds pretty good to me. It sounds like the camera, it was actually in that environment. Longboard sounds are a bit loud, but let's turn on the music and see how this sounds in comparison to the music. Too loud. I want it to be quieter. Now it's too quiet, so let's bump this up a tiny bit. Too much. That sounds good. Let's play with the EQ just to make it, maybe we can like manipulate it to make it feel like it's actually more in that environment. So let's solo it. Open the inspector, equalizer, band 1. Yeah, I think we might be hearing too much of the high end, so let's unsolo that. Yeah, that's dope. I like that a lot, actually. So, cool. That's with the equalizer on. This is without. So it's minimal, but to me, it makes a big difference. I like this. With the equalizer on, just this little change that we did, we basically just cut off a little bit of the high frequencies here. I don't know if it makes it feel more like it was in that environment, but it just feels a bit more real to me. Option X. Cool, we could probably extend this wind. And I feel like we should probably just like duplicate this sound here. Option S to see those layers over here. Let's expand these. And I'm probably gonna want to reset the pan on this guy. I might want to raise this one. Yeah, that sounds really good, actually, just raising up that volume there. And then we'll bring this one back over here. We're going from like further away to closer up to further away. And really what's making this feel closer up is just the volume. So all we did was increase the volume. Now remember, this one has the same pan keyframing that this one does. So I'm just going to eliminate that because I don't think we need it for that second one. Works pretty well. Probably bump the volume up there. So we're going from close to far to close. So this part here, so we'll probably want to just keyframe this here. Option, click. Let's make that quieter there. This might be a little bit too abrupt. And cool, let's add a whoosh here. So Option S, close my layers so I can't see those. Shift scroll so I collapse everything a bit more. Let's open up that index. Let's show our whoosh sound effects here. We got 3 layers of whoosh sound effects. Let's let's add some whoosh sound effects. Definitely need some of those. Nope. Nope. Let's give it a try. Maybe we can add this one here for when we're close up. So audio 6, it looks like we're peaking here. We gotta watch those levels. We're almost hitting 0 there. So let's turn that bad boy down. Let's turn this down too. It's okay if we bump it up a little bit. And this is a great time to add another human element to this too. So I don't know if we have the best ones right now. Let's open up human, and where are we at? Human sound. So maybe another like woohoo or something. Let's just move this one over a little, option drag it, see what this one sounds like. It almost sounds like someone like booing or something. So let's go to sound library, human cheer. No, we just want one person.
Boo! Yeah!
It sounds cheesy, but it could actually work, so let's give it a try.
Yeah!
Very loud.
Yeah!
Could work. Okay, it's like a good little transition segment here. So let's open the inspector, shift tab, equalizer. Let's cool. Option X. Way better. Yo, the EQ, it does wonders. It does wonders. Awesome. So I think that's enough for this lesson. As you can see, just this one section over here, and I did a little bit further down too. Why don't we just show all of these tracks here so we can get a better idea of where everything's at. So just this one little section here took about an hour, so you could tell how much time it takes. The thing that takes the most amount of time is just looking for the right sound effects And a lot of the time it's experimentation. Like sometimes you're not going to have the exact sound that's like in the video, but you can find sounds that are similar or just have similar vibes and manipulate them with the EQ, with things like reverb, with effects, and just playing around with them, and also playing with the panning and keyframing the panning in order to make them feel more as though they are in that environment. Sometimes you'll be successful, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll give something a try and it's not going to work as well as you hope it would. But that's just part of the learning process, right? And the more that you do this, the better you get at it. My recommendation is just to get into the editing program and experiment, and you'll find yourself being able to perform faster and faster each new project because you have more experience under your belt. You know what kind of sounds work well in certain situations and what kind of changes you can make to certain sounds to make them feel as though they're more in that environment. So sound designing is definitely something that just comes with practice. The more practice you put into it, the better you're going to be. But that's it for this lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed watching just my raw process of sound designing. I hope you guys learned a lot of new things, and I will see you in the next one.